Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is our first, well, not our first, but one of our 2020 virtual careers in finance. This is actually our first virtual career session on finance. Typically, we have these in person. Thank you all for being here. My name is Jessica De Jesus, and I'm the finance officer for the Prospanica Philadelphia chapter. I have been a member since 2017. Before we get started, those of you that are on, if you can kindly turn off your microphones if you haven't already. We will allow some questions towards the end of the program. Our vision here at Prospanica is to be the leading catalyst for Hispanic professional achievement. We can accomplish this by fulfilling our mission, which is to empower, engage Hispanic professionals and to achieve their full educational, economic, and social potential. During our session, we plan to share personal stories on how each one has chosen the finance field and the journey that it has taken to achieve their professional goals. I myself am in the field of finance, have been in the field of finance and accounting for over 20 years. I started really young. Most of the time I've been in corporate accounting, government purchasing for the city of Philadelphia. And now I'm a finance officer for grants and contracts at the University of Pennsylvania School of Design. I'd like to introduce our moderator for today, Maria Cristina Rios, who is our marketing officer. Thank you all, and please enjoy the programming.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining and thank you for being with us this hour. We hope that that you guys get some good takeaways and that you engage in the conversation at the end so that we can answer some of your questions. We're happy to provide this this opportunity. As Jessica said, we don't really do this in person, but thank you to technology, we're able to do this as well. So right now I want to introduce our speakers. A little bit about myself. My name is Maria Cristina Rios. I'm the marketing officer for Prospanica Philadelphia. I also own my own firm, Rios Marketing, and I provide marketing solutions for small businesses, primarily in the greater Philadelphia area. So today we have Diana Bellini representing PNC and Matthew Baca representing Comcast. So I'm going to ask each of you to give us your 30-second elevator speech introduction. Diana, we'll start with you first.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Diana Bellini. I am a relationship manager in the wealth management division at PNC. I cover the Pittsburgh market, and in that role, I lead a team of bankers, investment advisors, fiduciary advisors, and wealth planners who help me guide my clients through all their financial life cycles, and also to give them advice on moving to the next generation when it comes to their wealth.
Thank you. Matt?
Thank you also for having me here today. And I would guess that many people here have heard of Xfinity or been to Universal Studios, or at least watched something on NBC. As Maria said, my name is Matthew Baca, and I have the pleasure of working as a supervisor for Access Management, which is a financial organization in Comcast business, which like Xfinity, NBC, and Universal Studios is a subsidiary of the Comcast Corporation. What I do is I help businesses across the nation acquire the physical transport to build or monitor their own private networks or supply direct internet access for bill consolidation. I'm also a Colorado native, and I've been married to the same very lucky woman for 23 years and have 2 wonderful kids.
Congratulations. Thank you for joining us, both of you. You know, I think it would be great to hear from each of you what your, your specific degrees are in, just to understand, the finance field is so broad, just so we know what specialization you have, if any, or if, you started broad and then you narrowed it down once you went into your career. Matt, we'll start with you this time.
Okay, sounds great. As far as degrees, I actually do not have a degree. I have a couple of certifications, one in project management and a Scrum Master certification. So I'm in a financial organization and more along the lines of project management inside the organization.
Great. And Diana?
My degree is in business management. I went to a college in New York City. It's called the King's College. And it's focused mostly, it's a liberal arts school, so focused on philosophy, economics. So I do have a strong background of that that came along with my degree in business management. And I have a certificate from the University, Carnegie Mellon University in negotiation and leadership from the Tepper School of Business.
Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing that. So I guess, the next step is to hear about your day-to-day. What do you guys do on a daily basis? And I'll let whoever would like to jump in.
I can start. Oh, Diana, why don't you go ahead, Diana?
Okay. So on my day-to-day basis, I lead a portfolio of numerous clients, individual clients and families. And my role is to be a gatekeeper. I maintain those relationships. I try to build those relationships. And in order to do so, I do it by building trust, by having a team of experts that help me along the way, advise them, and to make the right decisions for their financial plan. Again, as a relationship manager, my role is to really be engaged with those clients, build those relationships, really take care of them, understand their needs, and put them in front of the experts that will solve those situations for them.
And I supervise a team that supports the quoting application and processes for our off-net quoting team. That team goes and gets quotes from our partnering vendors that account for the initial installation and monthly recurring costs to deliver fiber, copper, and other various transport types to Comcast customers that have franchises or locations that extend to areas that are outside of the Comcast footprint. My team specifically, we work with the developers and to update and enhance, perform maintenance, database updates to that team's quoting tool.
Great. So that's also where you're able to use your project management background as well.
Yep, that and all kinds of other areas. Right.
Fun. So it's good to hear that, you can combine different disciplines to then move forward into this field. I think nowadays there's a lot of, we're all being asked to stretch ourselves in different ways rather than just the philosophy we're taught, in college or whatever education we have. And, I certainly, being in marketing, didn't think project management was a thing, but apparently it's huge. So I too am seeking a certification in that sense. So the next question is, why did you guys choose this career path? What drew you to it? And it's okay to say you just kind of fell into it.
I think that's where I'm coming from. I think this really kind of chose me. So like being a people leader is something that's been passed down in my family, but I grew this desire and passion to solve problems, help people, train people, in fact. And that kind of led me into projects to create processes and efficiencies. And then that led me to leading teams to do the same thing. And now I'm doing that at Comcast, leading teams in special projects. But though we're not the ordinary finance, what you would call an ordinary part of finance, quoting, collecting quotes, and me working behind the systems to make sure it continues to work and it just seems to fit me like a glove.
For me, I grew up in New York City, so not too far from Philly. As you all know, New York is the mecca of the financial services. And during my time in college, I attended a field trip with a business professor who took us to the New York Stock Exchange. that was the most impactful event, when it comes to my career, because on that day on, I realized I want to pursue a career that involves money and numbers and how I can help people along the way. So through my work and through this passion, I feel like I can empower Latinas, especially in women, to have that financial freedom and hopefully one day close the wealth gap that we have in our country and around the world. And that's how,
Great.
that's how it all came to me.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So how did, with that in mind, actually, how does your Latino heritage influence your current success that you're having?
So for me, Latinos, especially for us who have immigrated from another country, we have the mentality that work ethic that, we had to put our head down, that we had to work hard. And that has been, driven by my family and that's what has driven me to be successful. I always try to go more than 100% of the time. I got 200 times more whatever job I was given from my early junior years, early in my career to now. If it was filing papers, if it was working on a project, filling client documents, to now leading clients and building the revenue for the company, I always believe in doing 130,000 more than what you are required to do. So that's part of our part of my heritage. However, I do believe that Hispanics, and through statistics, it's believed that especially Latinas, we believe in a calladita te ves más bonita kind of saying when it comes to doing your career. You learn to put your head down, to work, but you never really ask for anything. And you're just a culture of being grateful, because that's what our culture is about. We're always grateful. But by being grateful, we become invisible. And when you're becoming invisible, nobody's going to look at you. So one of the things that I have learned over the years is to, be proud of my Latino culture, but also be proud of asking for what I want, asking for the promotion, asking for the new project, asking for a raise, asking for the next level. So that way we can continue to move up in our career journey and create an impact and lead a good example for those behind us that I can follow as well.
Great. Matt, how has your heritage influenced?
Well, I was going to say ditto. It's really, I think I come from a long lineage of people leaders. My grandfather owned his own successful construction business in California. As long as I can remember, my dad was always a supervisor or in some type of management role. And my brother, to this day, he's few years older than me, but he's also an operations manager of an international company. So I believe that my work ethic and my desire to lead people is something that is inherited. That I just seen, everyone that I looked up to having this work ethic and leading people, and I think I just have to kind of learn to use what I inherited.
Great. Great. That's awesome. I think it's important to recognize that we are definitely shaped by our environment, but that our heritage is part of that environment and definitely determines how we approach things to a certain degree. We learn things all around and we're constantly becoming better, but it's also important to acknowledge that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people who came before us. So I think it's great to acknowledge that. So, within these careers, in thinking about finance, at least from an outsider's perspective, it's, to me, it's numbers, and numbers, tell a story, and it's black and white, right? It's either this or that. So are there risks that you guys have taken in your careers or in your jobs currently that have been for the better, have been a lesson?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like for me, I have taken risks from the beginning, starting from my first job, applying into my, getting my foot at the door at a financial institutions 12 years ago. That was a big risk, a young adult trying to start a career. And then as I continued to progress on my career, I have taken different roles throughout, just to continue to move up. And I have, some risks have been bigger than others. And I can see like two of them that have been really difficult, and and I'm glad I did. One was about 5 years ago when I was promoted to lead a business, to lead a portfolio of clients in Latin America. So I went from a junior job to a senior role. So that was a big risk, because not only I was learning new skills, transitioning to a senior role, but also required me to travel to another, to multiple places in Latin America. It required me to really also interact with my clients in Spanish, something that I haven't, that I didn't do before. So that was definitely a risk taker, but it was great. Now that I look back, it was great for me because it helped me really develop different skills. It helped me learn how to solve conflict, how to interact with people, how to manage my time, how to manage client issues that I never experienced before. And then most recently, I will say that another transition that I had was about a year and a half ago, when I changed careers from BNY Mellon to PNC. So I started in a new company. So that's also taking a risk. After working for an organization for 11 years, you have already your environment, the politics, the business. And going to a new environment, that's taking, that's a risk to me. And every time I feel like butterflies in my stomach, or I feel like I'm getting nervous and afraid of the unknown, that's when I know it's the right thing. Because if it's something comfortable, then it's not good. Like when you're willing to go out of your comfort zone, where you're willing to be resilient and willing to take chances and risks, that's when you really feel that is the right thing. So for me, that was, recently was when I transitioned to this role, a new company, new beginning for me. And it's been great. I have been learning along the way, and I know I will continue to do so as I continue to further in my career.
That's great. I have a similar story, Matt, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, no, that is a great story. I think I couldn't agree more. Taking those calculated risks can, in my career, have contributed to where I'm at right now. I think the biggest one I can remember, this is real easy, is that a few years back, I actually left the company that I had been with for 17 years and moved my family out to Louisiana. So we all moved out there, and I started working for a company out there, and the risk didn't necessarily pay off with that company. And I think that's about, sometimes we kind of got our blinders on and we don't see the bigger picture. But the bigger picture that was set up for me was that everything I learned there, and everything that the projects I took over, the people that I led, it really led me to acquire that project management certification. Mm-hmm. That's what led me to do that. And then I believe that doing that helped me to get my foot in the door here at Comcast. And really everything I learned there in that small time, year and a half, moved back to Colorado, by the way, but everything I learned there, I'm able to apply. And it's actually, I think it's made me more successful in this position here.
Yeah, congratulations. I think, that risk taking is definitely important. I too, I was actually laid off from Macy's in the great layoff of 2017. And, like Diana, having been at a company, knowing who the players are, who, to talk to, who you needed to get as your champion, was gone out the window, and having a foothold on, where I was in the New York community and the national landscape as well for multicultural marketing. I actually went to Comcast here in Philadelphia. That's what brought me to Philly. And then a year and a half later, again, changes in the company, meant that we had to part ways. but here I am with my own firm at this point. So I'm, I think that in thinking about those risks and making sure that you embrace them with the good and the lessons that will come. I'm not going to say the bad, right? The lessons that will come, that there's, you can bring positivity out of it. And Matt, I'm from Houston. I love food from Louisiana. So I don't know if you miss Cajun food at all, but.
Oh, I do.
But thank you for sharing that. I think it's important that we all see that, it's not a straight path, that, we have to make different decisions, and it's not always linear. It could, we could make a zigzag, and it could all be for the better, certainly. So how has COVID affected your position currently? I see we're all working from home, so, or from a home office. Or it's a really nice background. But how else has your job changed? Matt, we'll start with you this time.
Oh yeah, sure. It's been a tough year all around, I think, for all of us. The occupation that I currently have has stayed pretty busy, but the consumer needs have definitely changed and required different telecom solutions. So, for instance, before we were trying to secure quotes and get sell fiber solutions to businesses at all of their commercial locations, because everyone was working at work, not from home. But since COVID, I think more people are working from home, as you said, and we're seeing different business solutions being actually provided to homes. So while the business or the solutions have kind of changed locations, fortunately for me, the business has stayed constant. So I think one of the things that, as a leader, that I think that it's impacted is, I like to say this a lot, that we're not really working from home, but we're at home working. So we've got, unfortunately, my kids are grown. I've got an 18-year-old. I have a 21-year-old that lives outside of the home. But the people on my team, they have young kids. And so there have to be moms at any given time, whether we're talking on a Zoom meeting or they're working on their own. They've got to be moms and dads. And so I think it's impacted the way that we think about flexibility for our teams, and the amount that we want to give to them, and the amount of not want to give to them that we offer to them. Let's put it that way. Yeah. But just flex. Being really flexible in what we do with our teams.
Great, Diana.
For me, COVID has been very difficult, given my role that I, as a relationship manager, I'm in front of clients, and my job requires a lot of face time with them. It's a relationship business. So it was very difficult to transition, in a sense that, like how can you make this work? And so far it's been working. I've been doing a lot of Zoom and Skype meetings with my clients. We're getting used to this new environment, and we had to reinvent ourselves. We needed to really be more cautious, be more resilient, be more flexible, and be more on top of what we do, especially in the financial services, when the market, we're in the front row of what's going on with the markets, what's going on with the economy. So we had to be those people who are willing to talk to our clients if they have conversations, or if they see something on the news. We had to be ready to have those discussions. So it really helped me, I had to adapt to just be ready all the time and be there for them, for my clients, above of whatever I had, in my personal life. Because this is the time when historically, if you have a financial advisor, and if that financial advisor didn't take care of you during the hard times, whenever the market regulates or stays stable, that's when they start looking for other providers. And so this is an opportunity for us to continue to maintain those clients, to make sure that we meet their expectations, that we do what is best for them, and that we're there to inform them whatever it's we have available. So we have transitioned to doing more virtual events like this one, something that we can continue to build those relationships with those clients, not only from the market and from the economic view, but we also do, fun things with them. We have hosted wine tasting events. We have hosted museum, gallery events, painting, you name it. We have done different things virtually so we can continue to have that engagement with those clients.
Great. That sounds good. So I have a question that's, very specific to each of your roles. So I'm going to start with you, Matt, because given that your role is not specifically, finance driven, but you're in the financial organization, what special skill set are you drawing on to deal with those finance folks in your organization? Or is there a special skill set that you need to bring forward to ensure your success?
It's a great question. I really kind of work behind the scenes in applications and in the whole, I'm working with teams on the whole end-to-end process of collecting quotes, selling, and getting it all the way through from soup to nuts. And so really, I lean a lot on my project management background, right? My team depends on really logical based thinking. We collaborate a whole ton, and we're just kind of skills that I've learned over the years of being a people leader.
Great. I think it's important that, again, as we stretch ourselves, that we recognize those different levers we have to pull within ourselves. And I think it also helps the audience to know that, it's not, we're not all one trick ponies, so to speak, that we do have to have a well-rounded, like they told us back in high school, you have to be well-rounded, right, to get ahead in life. So Diana, the question I had for you is, you had mentioned earlier that you were, passionate about helping Latinas build their wealth and closing that wealth gap. Tell us a little bit more about that and what you're doing either in your community or at PNC to move that forward.
Sure. So in the community, I am involved with an organization called Alpha. We have different chapters throughout the nation, and I have served as a president for the board here in the Pittsburgh chapter, and now I continue to advise on the board. And I plan gatherings with Latina women here in Pittsburgh, so we can educate them, give them, financial literacy information, so they can continue to build their wealth, and most importantly, for them to feel empowered. Because once women have control over their finances, they feel empowered, and they have a second level of self-esteem that is never experienced before. And our goal is to educate them, to help them along the way. Early, you don't need to have a lot of wealth. You can just do it early as a student, to early in your career, to mid, and whenever you have the high net worth, similar to the clients I serve. So I'm a speaker and try to help as much as I can. I'm also involved with Girl Scouts of Western Pennsylvania. I am creating a financial literacy program for girls in kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, in conjunction with PNC and other organizations, to help out, again, educate girls to be better at finding and managing their finances.
Great. Love the Girl Scouts.
Yes. Love them too.
So what is the best, two things. What is the best career advice you guys have received? And what is career advice you would give to your younger self? And let's pretend 2020 didn't happen. Like what, or if you want to include that, I think there's valuable lessons we're all coming out here, but but that would be my question. Whoever wants to start, sorry.
Okay, I'll start. So I think best career advice that I've ever been given was be open to change. You know, the moment that we close down to change, you stop growing. And so it would be almost that same thing that I would want to give to my younger self. And that's if you hear that's the way you've always done it, or that's the way we've always done it, it's probably an opportunity for improvement. And so we can start to, look at that. So I guess that advice to me would be open to change.
The best advice I received was to network, but to network in a way that you go the distance and you diversify. What that means is that you go above and beyond, not only to network with the people in your current type of role or your current company or your current department, but it's like, you go outside your circle to really understand what other companies are doing, what other departments are doing, and also go the distance. Don't just limit to companies in, let's say, Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, New York, London. Just see above and beyond, and talk to people who are more senior than you and who are less senior than you and who are from different backgrounds than you. Because when you start having the same people, the same circle, you tend to agree on things. So then you're not innovating, you're not thinking strategically, and you're not really being challenged to think differently and to feel empowered in a different way. So that was one of the advice that I received, and it has paid off, especially in my career, in my role. And if I look at myself, to my young self, I will say start networking early. I did, not as early as I wish I would have done it in my career, because also through those networking opportunities, when you start meeting people, you build those relationships, and those relationships can lead to mentors and sponsors. In fact, the past few roles that I had in my life were due to either I had a sponsor or I had a mentor who told me. Even the last role, I had a mentor who told me that I should go into wealth management, I should leave the company that I was, and I should go do better things in another place. And sure enough, he was able to see something that I wasn't able to see. And from those networking opportunities, you're able to find people who can look at you in a different way without bias and tell you, okay, this is your skill set, this is what you're good at, and this is what you need to work on as well. That way you can continue to improve and make the right decisions along the way.
Great. Matt, anything else to add?
That was a great answer, Diana.
Thank you.
So I like both of your answers. I think, I certainly agree with both. I think there's change is constant. I mean, we don't have to belabor that, but I think younger people are are more I consider them more flexible than we were when we were younger, and I'm going to put us all in a bucket. Sorry if I offend you, but I think that there's value in definitely being flexible, being adaptable. I certainly, having worked for companies who on a regular basis, make changes and make business decisions that affect me. It's important for growth and for personal, development to embrace that change and recognize this might be for the better for me, or this is my lesson to me. This is how I'm going to build on that. And then the networking aspect of it, I definitely think that maintaining those networks is important. I can safely say that now that I have my own businesses and as I've drawn on my networks to, just get the word out, it's proven fruitful. And people never forget, especially if you had a good relationship with them, if your rapport was good, if you maintained that relationship, it's definitely, it definitely comes back to you if you do it the right way. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's important. So one last question, and then I want to open it up to the audience for any questions that they might have. But, you know, in this day and age, especially as we're all working remotely, is there anything that you're doing to make yourself stand out in your current organization and role to ensure that you continue to grow within the company or continue to grow within your career? Diana, we can start with you.
Sure. One of the things that I have noticed is that because of COVID, people are feeling more complacent, more comfortable with the things that they have. And so my strategy, what has been helping me with my role is to not be comfortable, to actually go above and beyond of the things that I do. I try to also build those stronger connections with my clients. And the way I've been doing it is I believe that if I support my clients, not only in their financial aspect, but also in the businesses that they do or in the things that they're passionate about, I can build a deeper relationship. So in fact, the past few months, I have collaborated with some clients. One owns a gallery in upstate New York. So I reached out to her and I said, you know, how about we do an event together where we can invite all our wealth clients and they can really explore your business, the work that you do. And then she was forever thankful because it was hitting home for her because that was her business. That was something that I helped her develop a new way of showing her business during this time of, you know, that she didn't, otherwise she wouldn't have done without our support. The same with, I have another client who has a vineyard in Argentina. I reached out to him and I said, hey, can we do an event together? Can we collaborate so that, we can support your business, we can work together. And that was, again, a wonderful story. The same today, we're having an event later about cybersecurity with another client who is an expert in cybersecurity and is teaching our clients about that topic. So having those connections with the clients, not only from the financial aspect, but for the things that they're passionate about, I feel like that differentiates me from the rest because I'm there for them. And also it makes me feel happy. I feel like I'm helping. When I believe in my career, I believe that you have to have a purpose in your life and why you're there for the job that you do. All of us are not going to have 100% that we love our jobs or that we hate our jobs. We're going to have bad days here and there. But if you wake up most of the time being happy for what you do and you find that purpose, that's when you know it's the right fit. And for me, that's where I feel. I feel like I love the work I do. I love the organization I work for, and helping those clients along the way. It makes me feel that I'm meeting my purpose of helping the people along the way.
Can you remind me of the question again? I'm sorry.
What are you doing to stand out in your organization or in your current role to continue your success or to build on your career?
That is a perfect timed question. We actually have these opportunities in Comcast that are called gigs. And what it allows you to do is to go and fill in for a position in a different organization, or to take on a different role, like I said. And so what I've gotten the opportunity to do is actually move over into the business process team for a short period of time. It's kind of like a try before you buy kind of thing, where they're able to try out your skills. You're able to see if you like it too. And what it's done is I'm just finding out, this week, what it's done is I've already told you that I kind of run the team that takes care of one system. Well, the team that I've moved into is actually end-to-end process from that soup to nuts that I was talking about earlier. And so I've been able to move, I just basically kind of raised my hand and said I wanted to take this, chance and move over into this. So I was able to do that. Just started this week on it. So other than that, I think the other things that are just kind of making me successful is my team. And so, to stand out, I'm just really there for them. And kind of some things I've switched up to is I got to be there for them, you know, for more hours, because as I said before, they're moms, they're dads, and so sometimes they don't get on the 8 to 5 hours. So, you know, what I've done is I meet with them daily, and I'm just there, you know, for a much longer time for them, so they can, you know, they can have that support. And that in and of itself has, I think it's helped me to really set myself apart within the org.
I think what I love that I'm hearing about both of you is your focus on people. And that's very important, especially during this time frame. You know, Matt as a people leader, and then Diana as a relationship manager. I think, you know, making sure that the people around you are well, and that you're playing into their strengths so that they're successful. And I think that makes you also successful. So I think that's also a great takeaway for the group. So I'm so happy you guys are sharing your story with us. I want to open it up to questions now. So if you have a question, please type it into the chat, or feel free to come on camera, go off mute, and ask your question.
I have a question for Matthew. Matthew, you mentioned earlier that you did not have a degree, and I actually got my degrees as an adult, and you know, it was very hard to get through, you know, a professional career in finance for like the first 5 years or so, because I didn't have a degree, and positions are kind of limited to that. And you know, I can imagine what your struggle has been. Do you regret like not going for your degree? If you don't, like, what kind of ways have you navigated those types of obstacles?
I guess I could say there's a bit of regret, and I think I kind of share that with my children, and I kind of say, you know, I really I've really worked hard to get to where I'm at currently, and it's taken a lot. I mentioned a job or a company that I worked for 17 years, and in that time, I started off $6 an hour part-time, and just continued to work and continued to strive to do better. And so the obstacles were just growing throughout those years into a place of management that we could say they're obstacles, but really yeah, sure, there are obstacles, but I learned so much along the way. I did go back to school, and I started going back to school right before we took off to Louisiana, and then moved back a year and a half later. So there was a lot going on there, and I made the decision that I'll probably, my son's graduating next year, and my decision is I'm going back to finish out my business degree once he goes off to college. And right now I just want to concentrate on him and making sure that he does get off to college, unlike his dad, but to also finish that later on.
Yeah, one thing I always say that there's never a bad time. It's just, you know, we have to kind of fit it into our lives, and we're never too old. So good for you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining and for giving us your time. To our panelists, thank you so much for sharing your stories. We continue to wish you continued success, and we look forward to keeping up with you and seeing where you are as things move along. To our participants, thank you so much for joining us. Follow us on social media, Prospanica PHL, or Prospanica Philadelphia. And we're also going to air this on our YouTube channel. We'll publish it as soon as we can do that. And you can follow us there at Prospanica Philadelphia as well. Sign up for our newsletter, go to our website, and just find our chapter, and you'll find out more about what's happening with us and what's going on around the Philadelphia community. We're happy to partner with many organizations around the city, and we're advertising not just what's going on with us, but with our partners like PNC and Nationwide. Thank you so much for sponsoring this program. And we also have a job board for anybody out there that's looking for something new or looking to take the next step. Be sure to check out our job board. Excuse me, Jessica, do you want to wrap up or?
Yeah, so again, Maria Cristina, thank you for moderating. I hope you're okay. And Matthew and Diana, we truly appreciate the time that you've taken to speak to our Prospanica members and everyone else that's on the call. I see Michael from the Philly Inquirer. So it's always exciting to see some folks from our sister organizations at Prospanica. So thank you all that were able to join. And I hope to see you for our next event that should be coming in the next month or so. We will be having 2 events. One is our Career Expo, and the other event will be more of a celebratory event to honor our scholarship awardee and also to thank our sponsors and our members. So I hope to see you soon. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.